Welcome to the Scoop World Order. It is Thursday night. We are 2 sleeps away from our massive meetup at Buffalo Wild Wings at the corner of Lane and High Street. I hope you guys are going to be there. Hope you guys are going to be there early because I have a ton of RSVPs. So I hope you guys roll in. It's going to be a blast. It'll be one of the best days in Scoop history. One of the best sporting days in history. Ohio State spring game, Masters Saturday golf tournament, UFC 300. I don't know how I can say any better than that. And, the assorted baseball games, whatever. So it's going to be a great day. Looking forward to seeing all of you. 5-star Tackle is visiting this weekend, kind of out of the blue and unofficial, but a kid that you need to have on the radar. A lot of movement on the team. Going to go through some of the guys that are surging in the last week of practice. They've got one more tomorrow, light practice tomorrow, the game Saturday, and put it in the books. Who's going to be taking off? Who could be coming in from the portal? And go through all that. We'll take your super chats as always. We appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell so that you know every time we're going live again. We appreciate you guys so much for tuning in and kicking it with us each and every night. Really looking forward to meeting you guys. I have name badges and Sharpies. So when you guys show up, you guys at least have some sort of clue who everybody is because we're expecting a ton of people. I've got a group that said they're bringing 60 people that are from the podcast. So we'll see. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. It'll be one of the best days in Scoop history. We've got our Scoop flags in, and they are sick. So we're going to be flying those high at Buffalo Wild Wings across Columbus and throughout Ohio. So they are a major partner with us, along with a bunch of our other restaurant brands. So we're super excited about that. So we're going to get into all that. If you guys have questions, fire up the super chats. The super chats go into Pay It Forward. Paid For has been an amazing program. We've added a ton of new members to BuckeyeScoop.com. So really excited about what is going on. And we appreciate you guys supporting our veterans, our firefighters, our police officers, our first responders, the people that make this country great. Again, are the people that take care of us. So let's take care of them. So we appreciate you guys as always. It is great being here tonight. This is going to be a great show. This is going to be a huge show because you guys made it one. It's great to have you guys. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in my good friend, Nevada. Nevada, there is a lot going on in the Woody Hayes. There's a lot going on around college football. Obviously, transfer portal, a lot of rooms on transfer portal, 5-star tackles, a lot. There's a huge list of visitors coming this weekend. Where would you like to start tonight?
Well, we can start with the 5-star tackle because 5-star tackles are always great to talk about. They're hard to get, and that's just a fact because generally when you look through the recruiting rankings, there's not a lot of them. They're spread. They're generally not in Ohio, and recruiting, is a tough business, and it's generally a local business, except when it comes to national tackles, and then everybody's in. Everybody wants a piece. So this is a guy that that we're excited about. That out of Gorman High School, and the nice thing about Gorman is Gorman's definitely a place where Ohio State's done well in the past, had some success, and it's a very pro-Ohio State. Vegas is a very pro-Ohio State town, and Gorman's a very pro-Ohio State school. And I don't know if we've got any tape on Douglas Utu. I know the tape that they have on him is somewhat limited. You said it was like less than a minute or something like that, like the shortest highlight tape that you'd ever seen in the history of highlight tapes.
Easily. I've never seen a tape that was
look at that hat.
Yeah.
Where did you get that nice hat?
Hey, this is part of our drop. So my gear showed up today. So I got my flags today. I got 14 flags. So you'll see these all over Columbus at Buffalo Wild Wings. So this thing is fire. Some of our Scoop sweeties have got some promo tanks. So we have little racerback tanks. So a lot of you women, Doreen, I know a lot of you guys ordered these. So they're fire. And I've got another box of stuff coming, I think tomorrow. So very, very excited about that. Let me get his tape dialed up. But yeah, it's gonna be a blast. I'm really excited about it. Again, I love the gear. It's really, really high quality, fashionable. Nothing but compliments so far. Everything's been excellent. So. And again, we do another gear drop. I'm listening to what people want. Carhartts, they want Under Armour. So we'll do kind of an ancillary drop next. But this drop was a massive success. We appreciate all you guys that that took part in it. Again, it's always flattering when you guys are rocking our gear. But I wear it every day, so I mean, it's good quality stuff. I want quality. I'm not going to wear stuff that isn't quality. I'm not going to sell stuff that isn't quality. So, it's a great little marriage right now where we're at. Douglas Tutu's highlight tape was 59 seconds long, so this won't take very long. He's a very talented. He's playing right tackle for Gorman. Obviously, Gorman, Ty John Lindsay, Tate Martell, Haskell Garrett. There's been a ton of great, Dorian Thompson Robinson, Free Browns fans. They're from there. Um, he's got a lot of ability. Again, I'm excited about this kid. I don't know how realistic he is, but here he is in a 3-point, pulling on a counter, kind of flatlines the kid. Again, I'm not sure who he's playing, but he finishes. Again, you don't get to control who you play against when you're in high school, but you can control how much effort you give, how much you finish, and how hard you go. But you can see the movement skills, you can see the effort. Again, he's driving a kid down to the, he doesn't have to do this, but this is a great clip because he's going against a guy who obviously is out of his league. This is either a safety or the smallest linebacker I've ever seen. This is Mark Pantoni. Pantoni's trying to fit in there, and he gets driven, flat line, put on his back, like he does all the time. And that's something that's tough, but he finishes the kid and puts him down, which is good. And again, I think that's something you have to watch. Again, would you want to see him go against like similar 5-star guys? Yeah, but that doesn't happen a lot in high school. So you really have to evaluate movement skills, finish, drive, a lot of stuff. Because like Vegas does not have good football. I mean, Gorman murders everybody pretty much every week, and that's why they play a very national schedule. They'll play teams like Don Bosco out of Jersey. They'll play Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale. But yeah, I think this kid's got some tools, and he's gonna be here. So I mean, you got to punch his chance. And again, I tell people all the time, because our O line recruiting has sucked over the last few years. But I think that the thing you got to look at is, Paris Johnson just won 6 overall last year. So a lot of these kids that are 5-star tackles, they want to know, how do you get me to the league, whatever. I'm like, well, look at Paris and Dwan. And again, in 3 years, it'll be even easier because when Paris and Dwan get their second contracts, those are going to be $100 million contracts. So you say, hey, you come here, we develop you for 3 years, and magically you're, the highest paid tackle in NFL history or something close to it. So Paris has a chance to take a big step. I thought Dwan was actually better than Paris last year in the NFL, but Paris is going to move to left tackle, his more natural spot. Dwan played right tackle, which was where he played his entire career at Ohio State. So it'll be fascinating to see how all of it works out. Dwan played a little bit of left tackle when he was young, but mostly a right tackle. Nevada, as we get into some of the spring ball stuff, the spring ball studs, who are some guys that you want to talk about? Because there's been a lot of names that have popped up. Real excited about CJ Hicks. Real excited about Sonny Styles. And a lot of these guys are guys that haven't played a ton, so they might get some serious burn on Saturday. Burn meaning playing time for some of the folks that aren't quite as hip. What are your thoughts on some of these guys? Because I think Saturday's gonna be a chance to show out for some of these guys.
Well, the young. I'm looking forward to see. We've talked about Jason Moore. We've talked about Ian Moore. Tai Hamilton's been. Tai Hamilton is one of my picks for like kind of sleeper player of the year. Like people know about him, but they don't really know about him. I mean, he's a heck of a player. He made some splash plays last year. From the interior line spot, and we're looking for who's going to be able to replace the production of Mike Hall. How are we going to get guys? How are we going to get those valuable minutes that that really come from having those guys that can complement Ty Leak on the inside? And man, Ty Hamilton just continues to impress me. He's a guy that I've loved. I love his brother. Think he's kind of underrated, but I just think he's going to have a big year. And I just don't. I don't know about the format on Saturday in terms of who's going to get enough playing time. So it's so hard to say. I guess a safe bet would be like Julian Sane, J.J. Smith, Jelani Thurman, Carnell Tate. Some of these guys are going to show out, but you just don't know how how much these other guys are going to play and how much they're going to do. But all spring long, Ty Hamilton has been doing it. and he's continued to do it. I think he had silver bullet of the day the other day. One of the last practices, and I just think it's well deserved. I know they float that award around. It seems like to everybody. Everybody on the defense gets it once, like kind of like employee of the month, but he really deserves it. And man, when you look at the guy, he is a block of granite, and just a real handful on the inside. And when you talk to the offensive lineman, he's a guy they consistently just don't like to block against. And I think he's going to have just a monster year for Ohio State. And, I couldn't be more excited about that. And I hope he gets a chance to show out in the spring game. Again, the problem in the spring game is it's a zero-sum game. So anybody who does well, that means somebody else did poorly. You get a sack, well, the offensive line's bad. You score a touchdown, well, our defense is bad. So it's I guess it depends on whether you're a glass half full or a glass half empty. But people are going to be happy half the time and unhappy half the time. But this is a loaded Ohio State team heading into the spring game, fully healthy, and it's going to be fun. And the quarterback stuff's going to be interesting because what do they do with Will Howard and Devin Brown and Julian Sain, and Lincoln and Eric? Like, how do they split up those reps? What do they do with that? Um, I'm really interested in that. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think you'll see it? Do you think do you think it'll be anything even remotely even, or do you think it's going to be the Julian Sain show, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think all the quarterbacks got to play. I mean, I think Will Howard hasn't done anything to earn, he's not Troy. He's not coming off of a year where he was all Big Ten and, beat Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. I think that these guys all got to go prove they can play in the horseshoe. I think Will Howard, I think Devin, Devin had his couple spurts last year. Obviously got injured a couple times. We were the biggest Devin Brown fans in the world outside of Zach. And I think that, he's got a lot to prove. He's got to figure out what's his role this year. Is he the starter? Is he the backup? Is he okay to be the backup? Would he rather go start at a lesser program like Utah or some other place that he could portal to potentially? I think that Ryan's going to give these guys a fair shake. I think that something that's interesting is when people talk about quarterbacks and they look good, bad, indifferent, whatever. It's really hard to look great when you're rotating between three different huddles, when you're on at the 1s, 2s, and 3s. So that's something that Ryan Day does and Chip Kelly does, where he'll put Will Howard with the first O-line, the second O-line, the third O-line. And, the third O-line is usually, freshmen like the Armstrong twins and, guys that are probably going to get overwhelmed a little bit their first time, in college, whatever. So it's not always going to look great. But, guys got to take advantage of the reps with the first team. But I think like when you settle on a starter, then all of a sudden, there's a lot more cohesion and chemistry. And again, that is something that I think Ryan Day's been poor about, is the chemistry aspect of the offense. Again, last year in training camp, I thought it was horrific what they did to the offensive line, where they had the guys rotating on two different fields. And, you got two right side guys and three left side guys, and they're going side by side. And, like guys couldn't develop chemistry, and it looked like it on the field. Like we sucked to start the season. So I think you need to pick 5 guys and roll with it. Maybe 6, if you want to rotate 2 guys at right guard between Carson Hinsman and Luke Montgomery. But I don't think you can play this musical chair stuff, because it's not Madden. Like, this is real life. These are real people. Chemistry is impossibly important when it comes to college football, which again, when Will Howard gets to only throw to the starting wide receivers, J.J. Smith, Cardell Tate, and Emeka Egbuka, then he's probably going to progress more than when he has to throw with JJ and Emeka and Carnell. And then his next series in the same practice, he's thrown to 3 walk-ons, that are never going to play, or they're going to be special teams guys. And again, it's not denigrating them, but you have to get consistent throw time versus live bullets with the guys you're actually playing with. Again, I never went through a situation where they were just rotating right guards next to me for longer than like a day. I had TJ for 2 years. I had Mike Nee for a year. I had Ben Person for the last year. But like when I had Ben, like he was kind of the guy. It wasn't like they're rolling 3 different guys against me. But eventually, like I'd go to my line coach and say, this sucks. This doesn't help us. We're not going to get better. We have no chemistry. We can't switch twists. We can't do double team blocks, combination blocks, like the stuff that you need to be really good at. You have to get a feel for it. Again, it's like a catcher and a pitcher. It's like a point guard and a big man in basketball running a pick and roll. Like there's certain things that you get a feel for because you've done it 1,000 times, and you know how people play, and there is a certain amount of chemistry there. And again, when you're rotating guys, you never develop that, and it sucks. And it's, again, our line sucked to start the year last year because they looked like they never played together, because they really hadn't, because they were doing the 2-field thing. And that's great. Give these guys a billion reps, which is great. But eventually, like, you have to actually give them like good reps where they're developing what their cohesion looks like and what they can do. We have some super chats.
Hold on. But before we get into the super chat, we like to play the role of kind of myth busters here and kind of narrative busters. And there's one floating around that I have to address because I read it a couple times on our board today, and I'm like, I'm not sure where this stuff comes from, but there's this thing that's kind of get out there that Will Howard was benched last year, and people just keep repeating it like it's like, oh, Will Howard was benched last year, and it's like, Will Howard, they split reps last year, one game with a talented underclassman quarterback, and then Kansas State went away from that. Will Howard played the last 6 games that Will Howard played when Kansas State was still in contention. Will Howard threw for 15 touchdown passes against 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 3 touchdowns during that same period. So in that 6-game stretch, down the stretch, he accounted for 18 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. He wasn't benched. He wasn't passed over. Kansas State was not happy that he was gone. So no matter what you're hearing about this stuff, it's not true. And I just, when I was reading that, I was like, do people really believe this? But it got repeated a couple times, so enough. So I wanted to address it on the show. No, Will Howard wasn't benched. No, Will Howard wasn't not good enough to play for mighty Kansas State, and that's why he's at Ohio State. Will Howard's a heck of a quarterback. Will Howard, Lincoln Riley wanted Will Howard. Ryan Day wanted Will Howard. Ohio State stepped up from the collective and paid Will Howard a lot of money to come here because Ryan Day really, really wanted this quarterback. So I just wanted to address that because, like I said, it's the first time I didn't think that was like a serious thing until I'd read it today, multiple times on our board, and I was like, I just want to mention this in the podcast. It's just not true. So I mean, it's factually incorrect. So wanted to address that and end of rant.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Reker did an NIL deal with Will Howard this past week. He gave him a pretty nice Raptor. It's not a Raptor Bronco, but it's close. It's probably an $80,000 car. Didn't give it to him. It's a lease. But, Rick is part of the foundation. And Rick is very, very intelligent when it comes to who to bet on. Again, it's a lot like betting on horses. Like, when you're at the Derby or Saddle Down, wherever you're at, like, you don't just randomly put money on random horses that you blindly are like, okay, let me just pick number 2, 8, 7. There's always something behind it. So Rick's not giving out a brand new $80,000 car for a lease just because he feels like it, just because he's like, hey, this really nice car is laying around on the lot. Let's just give it out to Will Howard. It's because he's got good intel and he knows that this kid's going to be the starter. And again, I know that people have said he wasn't going to start at Kansas State. He's going to get benched for some freshman, whatever. I watched the kid's tape. I love the kid's tape. And again, don't trust me. Go watch this film against Missouri, who we played last year, and how good he was versus Missouri last year. And then also say, hey, look, this is the guy Ryan Day signed his name to. So you can say Kirk and Nevada are homers. Kirk and Nevada are idiots. Kirk and Nevada don't know anything about quarterback play. Well, Ryan Day does. Ryan Day's the best quarterback developer in the entire country right now. Look at his resume. Every single guy except for Kyle McCord, who sucked, they're all first rounders. They're all big time guys. God bless Dwayne Haskins. God rest his soul. He passed away, a couple days ago was the anniversary of it. But it's you get Fields, you get Stroud, you get whoever this next guy is. I mean, he knows how to put guys in the league. He's really good about it. So and I believe Haskins was last year, so I apologize, not a couple years ago. But, he didn't go sign his name and make the NIL collective sign these big deals with Will Howard just for his health. He did it because he thought this was a sizable upgrade over the guys he had in the room. And again, last year, he went after Drake May hardcore. Drake May will go in the first 5 picks of the draft. Ryan knew he didn't like what he had in that room. with Devin Brown, and with Kyle McCord. So he went after Drake May hardcore. Mac Brown told him to stand down, and he did. But they were making overtures because they knew they needed to upgrade that room. Because again, Ryan's had the best quarterback play probably in Ohio State history the last 4 years, 5 years, maybe since 18. Haskins, Fields, and we haven't cashed it in as much as you think we would when we've had first round quarterbacks every year. So he's trying to find the next one, and again, he's not scared to shake things up. Again, he took Air Nolan's commitment. Air shows up on campus. Air screwed the pooch, to start his college career. Julian Sain became available when Nick Saban retired, and Ryan pounced on that. So the one thing I love about Ryan Day, people can say whatever they want about me, say whatever they want about Ryan Day. Ryan Day is vicious when it comes to making sure that he has excellent quarterback play. And when he doesn't have excellent quarterback play, daddy can walk into the office and demand that his son's the starter, and Ryan will go tell him to pound salt and go to Syracuse. So, it's a different level when you've got the confidence of Ryan, you've got the collective behind you. Now you've got Chip Kelly. Now, whoever plays quarterback, literally they could put me out there at quarterback, eating nachos and Buffalo Wild Wings, chicken wings, and I could still throw for 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns with JJ, Emeka, Jelani Thurman, Trey Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. So the infrastructure is going to be magnificent, and the schedule to start the season stinks. So these guys are going to get a lot of time to get their minds right before they got to go play Oregon. They play Michigan State, Iowa, but they start off like Akron, Western Michigan. I mean, it is like turd central to start the season. So then they have a bye week 3, so they can get everything recalibrated. So this is going to be a monster year for Will Howard. Again, these collectives, they keep a mental score of what you tell them to spend money on. So when you do too many Victor Cutlers, who was an absolute disaster of a NIL deal, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, you might as well lit it on fire or flushed it down the toilet. Like, Will Howard is a very calculated risk. And again, Rick is a pretty tall dude. Will Howard is monstrous, and he's strapped up. And again, he looks like Josh Allen. Now, if you go back and look at Josh Allen's senior year at Wyoming and look at his stats, go look at his game against Iowa. He sucked. He was trash. But all of a sudden, he goes to the Bills. He has good players around him. He wins the NFL MVP. So I think Will Howard's going to be a monster this year, but that's my opinion. Nevada, any rebuttals before we dive into these super chats?
No, I think you're right. And, I think Will Howard, it goes without saying that Will Howard played on a Kansas State roster that was devoid of a single person that could even make the Ohio State 2 deep, and still managed to win games and beat Texas. And, he did some great things there when he was that kid, win the Big 12 his junior year. So I just think he's going to be spectacular here. And also this spring, they have been running the big part of his game. When people want to evaluate his game, too, they talk about this. They just talk about his passing, which is great. But he rushed for 9 rushing TDs last year, which, as an Ohio State fan that has not seen a rushing TD from our QB1 in 3 years, a guy that got 9 in one season, crazy. And that's going to add just an absolute gigantic dimension to our offense, especially in the red zone. So no, I think he's poised for a monster year. And but I just wanted to debunk the benching thing. It's kind of like that falls into the category of Coach Stud didn't have Paris Johnson's phone number, and whatever all the other urban, Troy Smith slept with Gonzo's girlfriend. We can put that one. We can send that one to the aisle of bad takes. So, but again, my rant is over.
The Isle of Stupidity. Again, Saturday, the meetup is going to be 9 a.m. to noon. 2151 at North High Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43201. Our girl Andy Jo Taylor is going to sing the national anthem and sing a few of her songs. It's going to be exceptional. Very excited about it. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Get into these super chats.
Should be the meetup. It should be MEAT meetup. Because when I think meetup, I think smash burger. That's what I'm thinking. Meetup. Got it.
I think we're going to spend a lot of money and put a lot of meat on your credit card. So that's why I say meat.
I love it.
Meet up
Let's
with
go.
let's meet up with Nevadabuck's credit card limit. Meet. And
I
not
love it.
MEET.
Let's
Like
go.
we're gonna misspell it. Like it's gonna be like we're just gonna throw more patties on top of that card and see until it
Let's
collapses.
go.
Collapse
I
the
love
Swiss
it.
bank account. I can't wait. Larry Daniels the first. Thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for the 5. Got my merch yesterday and today. Great fit, excellent embroidery. Great choice, Nike, Kirk. Thanks, Nevada OH. I'm telling you, man, like this flag is fire. I might wear this everywhere I go, like a big mooner. So there's my big flag everywhere I'm gonna go. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like I'm gonna be rocking that everywhere. Larry Daniels, P.S. Love. You know how many times I've gotten this, Larry? That is one of my favorite things I did. I put the American flag on here because I know that a lot of the Ohio State beat is not proud of America and they are woke, but we're not. We're very pro-America on BuckeyeScoop.com. So toss the flag on the side. I think it's a nice little thing for us, and I'm really excited about the whole thing because we're gonna do that in all of our stuff. Like I like representing the country. We're gonna sing the national anthem at the beginning of our event. Once people kind of file in, even though there's gonna be a lot of people coming in and out. But yeah, I love it. I think it's strong, and the country needs us. So you got to stand up for your country, and that's what we're gonna do on BuckeyeScoop.com. Paul, thank you for the 5. April is the month of the military child. Bless all the children for their sacrifices and challenges they make in their young lives. I agree with that. That was something I was not aware of. Nevada, I assume that when you're a military child, a military brat, as you affectionately refer to it as, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make. You have to move a lot. You're away from your parent a lot, whoever is serving or if both are serving. Talk a little bit about that. The month of the military child in April.
Yeah, it's an interesting life. I just it's hard for people to really understand it that didn't really have it because I always talk about people they tell me, oh yeah, I knew this kid since grade school, or this has been my friend since kindergarten, and man, we moved every 18 months, so it was like you didn't know anybody, and when you said goodbye, you never saw them again, and they were out of your life forever. So it was hard, but you know it was great. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Just going to be able to see the places that we did and experience the life that we did. Um, but yeah, I tell you what, the one thing more than anything, if say one thing, what did I learn from all that is, man, the United States is the greatest country in the world, and we are all so fortunate to live here. Because when you've lived overseas, you realize how great the United States is, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm trying to see as much of this country as I can, trying to get to all 50 states, because I just think there's so much. I mean, I've been, was around the world when I was little, but now I just want to see the United States because I think it's got so much to offer. But that's just my thoughts.
Totally agree. ZZM, thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for the 10. The book is great. I started it, so I'm grinding through it. ZZM is an author, and he has a nonfiction title that I am, or excuse me, a fiction title that I'm reading through right now. I'll get let me see if I get it on my Amazon orders. I'll look it up while we're talking between this. He says, if my dad comes, give him a free drink for my massive shirt. I'd love that. Make sure that he lets me know that he is ZZMZ so that I know who's who. Vietnam Marine veteran by my mom's side at the hospital. Now the beat wants Devin Brown, Nevada. They trashed him last year. Why the Will Howard hate by the beat? Your thoughts, Nevada?
Man, it's a great question, but it is funny how they start kind of getting out in unison with stuff, and I don't know. I don't know why that is, but it's been palpable where it's been kind of all coming out. Well, oh, Will Howard's not this and Will Howard's not that, and maybe it's coming from Ohio State where they're trying to get to pump up Devin Brown and keep Devin Brown from transferring, or I mean, I don't know what it is, but it certainly seems like it's kind of a concerted effort right now, where people are kind of coming out. It's like a very definite decided anti Will Howard slant, which is weird. I don't like I said I'm not saying he's been perfect in practice, but this spring is not exactly playing to his long suits, which is running the football, moving the distributing the ball and moving the team. But that's all I got because it is funny though. It's like they got the talking points and they're all out there reciting the same lines, and it's definitely been noticeable.
It's almost like we've seen that before.
Yeah, many times.
It's literal groupthink. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's like when they figure out a narrative that is pushed from whoever. Maybe it's to keep Devin here and not transferring. I don't know, but I also don't really care. I like Devin. We were Team Devin big time last year. It killed us when he got hurt in that bowl game because I thought he was going to ball out, and we looked good when he was running the show. But he injured his ankle and wasn't able to finish the game. So hey, if Devin starts, awesome. I think it's going to be a great. It's going to be whoever the starting quarterback is going to be a Heisman candidate because that's what Ryan Day is going to produce. So whoever it is, they're going to be tuned up and ready to rock. Jim Jackson, my man, Florida State Seminole, appreciate you. Thank you for the 10. Scoop Nation. I did see this. Did you see USC's O-line Jason Zandamela is in the portal? Any chance the Buckeyes will kick the tires? Heard he's legit. See y'all Saturday. Nevada OH.
I.O.
And by the way, the name of the book is Saving Farah. That is ZZM's book, so look that up on Amazon. I bought it just because he was going to send me a copy, and I said, "I'll just buy it from you, dude. I mean, I'd rather support you than you send us free stuff." Jason Zendamaya, I am pulling up his graphic right now. Nevada's buddy Hayes Fawcett made it. We were talking about this in pre-show. Should we talk about him? Should we talk about the other guys? That's him. He is a portal. I believe he's a 5-star 2024. We'll see. I mean, he's an normal All-American, 30 offers. Ohio State did not offer him coming out of college, maybe because they didn't think they had a shot at him. He's from Clearwater, but, I mean, the hard part about a kid like him is he's a true freshman, and, do you want to guarantee a true freshman a starting spot? No. But that's what he's going to want. Yeah, and he's going to want a chunk of NIL money. So, again, I think it's stupid. I don't think there's any chance he ends up at Ohio State, but, we can, I guess be fascinated by a guy that just got there. And he's class of 2024, so he just signed in December. He's already in the portal, so that means he's a head case. He's probably weak mentally. He probably sucked and got his dong kicked in all spring practice. So he's ready to take his ball and go home. I'd pass. Again, he's not Orlando pace. If he was that good, he'd be starting at SC, but he's probably running third string. He's probably getting annihilated. And again, I've seen like dramatic offensive lineman is like the kiss of death. It's like that's like the Lizzo. Like nobody wants to see Lizzo. Nobody wants to see a dramatic offensive lineman. It's kind of the same thing. Your thoughts on that, Nevada? Jason Zandamela enters the portal. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, that was my immediate concern when I read it was, wow, didn't this kid just sign with USC? And what's going on? And to your point about dramatic offensive, has there ever been? I'm sure there has to have been, but who was like the last great offensive lineman that was a drama queen? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that they're not out there, but I'm having a hard time coming up with one. I mean, you would know. You're like an encyclopedia.
I've seen it in recruiting, and like Jackson Carman was like going after Kirk Herbstreit, and he fooled the Bengals, who have drafted horrifically the last 30 years on the offensive line, and hammered. Was fighting with Herbstreit on Twitter, and I'm like, he's obviously a complete moron. Chantrell Henderson was a moron. Kyle Dowdson never did anything here. A lot of these guys that like they do the big signing days and the dramatics and the hats on the table, like they usually end up sucking. There's some that are good, but a lot of them suck. So
I mean, Chantrell Henderson, Jordan Seaton. I mean, I'm just kind of going through the list.
We'll see what Jordan Seaton does. I mean, I watch these videos that Dion posts on YouTube, and I'm just like, that is the ultimate castle built on sand is Dion at Colorado. Oh my God, when Shador leaves, they're going to be the worst program in 1A. Watch. Because they're a clown car. They're a clown show. And again, I love Deion Sanders as a player, one of my favorite players, one of the most not inspirational for me, but like there's more guys that look up to Deion Sanders in the NFL than any other position in terms of swag and all that other trash. But he's a farce as a head coach. Like he's a guy that he's a lot of BS and he's a lot of trash, and that's why all those real coaches left him last year. That's why Sean Lewis left. That's why Charles Kelly left, because they sat in that staff room and they're like, "Holy cow, this is the guy I'm going to tie my wagon to prime time." And Deion can fool a lot of people, get them out to Colorado. But then when they end up sucking, it's because he's all jive. And again, I wish Deion was better because like he's fun to watch. It's fun while it lasted for 2 games, but when Oregon came to town, they beat the brakes off him. Oregon could have scored 200 points on him. So, I think it's interesting. Raymond Mitchell, thank you for the 20. Great Mitch King story yesterday. That was a fun thing to recall. I remember watching him punch Doug Daddish in the face during the 06 game when his helmet came off. I think I remember that. Who were some of the other dirty guys that you played against? Or were we the dirtbags? Well, I can't think of that many guys that were that big of douchebags like Mitch King was. Honestly, I can't. And I'm not trying to dodge that, but even like the Michigan guys were like pretty clean. Which again, Nevada thinks I'm like a closet like Michigan fan. But
I know you going on your Michigan drooling is just like I expect it's part of every show now. It's like, oh, Michigan's the best and everything like that. And I'm like, oh my, what happened to you, man? What happened to you?
I don't know. I had to figure out a way to get a national championship ring since I lost in 06 So I started fawning over Michigan, and they sent me one. I think Sherrod Moore is going to send me one when he's crying at the Penn State sideline.
Oh god!
But no, there weren't that many dirtbags. I mean, there was an idiot at Wisconsin. He's a big fat dude, Nick Hayden. He was kind of a douchebag. But they're not dirtbags. They're just douchebags. They talk too much. They're not really that good.
What did you think of Aiden Hutchinson when he untied the shoes and did that? What did you think of that particular move?
I thought that was douche. I mean, because that was the year before they were actually any good. They were good that last year where, he pulverized our line and Ryan Day fired stud like right after the Aiden Hutchinson game. So I don't know. I thought that was douche. I think that Christian Wilkins putting his finger up a guy's butthole is douche, or it might be a little sweet. I don't know what it is. But I don't know. When I think dirty, I think guys like taking cheap shots, guys trying to twist ankles and that kind of thing. And I didn't see a lot of that, and I paid attention. LSU had a bunch of thugs. Obviously we knew that. I mean, LSU's guys are all single-digit ACT scores. So, and that's the thing I used to hate about Ohio State and playing for Ohio State and being at Ohio State is I'm like, we drug test the crap out of our guys. So it makes guys like Eugene Clifford just vanish into a puff of smoke, literally. Where like LSU and Florida and some of those schools, they probably give those kids 700 fails on their drug tests before they'd ever consider kicking them off. Like Honey Badger said he failed like 70 drug tests before he got kicked off LSU. Like at Ohio State, poor Eugene Clifford failed 3 tests in a semester or a quarter or whatever, and he was gone. Where at LSU, nobody would have even known. So, we always, I always would wish that there was a uniform drug testing policy across college football and across the conferences, as opposed to Ohio State just cracks and whips these kids incessantly with drug tests, and guys fail it because they're 18-year-olds, they're dumb. A lot of you guys that went to college or were just 18 years old probably smoked some weed, probably partied a little bit. A lot of you guys ended up okay. You guys didn't turn into career criminals or thugs or Pablo Escobar or anything, but Eugene ran out of town because he was smoking a little bit of dro, which again, I don't care. I was always clean, but it just was one of those things where I hated that we would always make it as hard as possible for us to be good. We always had the most insanely big compliance department, and they were all morons, but they were all there, and they're always dying to write people up. And between that and the drug testing, I mean, it just crushed some of the things where we could have been a lot better. Versus the SEC, where they just it's like anything goes. Again, it would be like if we competed in a bodybuilding championship and the SEC said no drug testing, and then the Big Ten would drug test for anabolic steroids. It's of course we're gonna not be as good because they get to be, juiced out of their minds, juiced to the gills, and be great, and then we've got to like do things by the rules, and it sucked. So, but there really weren't that many dirtbags that I played against that I can really remember. But I don't know. That's just my opinion, and I'm sure that you could point some out that have played or you've seen on TV or whatever. But most guys don't really talk that much in college, at least from my experience. D Sunny, thank you for the 5. When you say Mac Brown told Day to stand down, why did Day listen? Well, because they were tampering. I mean, it's not. Would it have been tampering, or was it with him being a gentleman? No, it would have been tampering. I mean, this just kind of is what it is. I mean, that was pretty well known. And again, I know that people will refute that, just like they refuted the Mark D'Antoni and Will Muschamp stuff. But our sources are so much higher level than the people that cover Ohio State that it's almost hilarious when they try to refute what stuff we do. Because I'm like, I'll put the money up. Let's see it, because I guarantee you we'll blow a hole right through your head if you guys try to go against this, because it happened, and again, and I loved it. Like when Ryan was going after him, I was like, that'd be amazing. Can you imagine our team last year with Drake May instead of Kyle McCord, a top 5 pick in the draft? Like, I would have liked that with that number 2 overall defense and Drake May quarterback, a real quarterback instead of Kyle McCord. I'm all there for it. Nevada, your thoughts? D Sunny asks, again, D Sunny, thank you for the 5. Thank you for being on here all the time. When you say Mac Brown told Ryan Day to stand down, why did Ryan Day listen? It would have been tampering, or was it him being a gentleman? You know the answer to that, but your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, this isn't a gentleman's agreement thing, which we laugh. I mean, the fact that we even can't even remember the time when there was a gentleman's agreement in the Big Ten not to recruit guys committed to the school is just kind of comical. And obviously, Urban Meyer killed that a long time ago. But no, this wasn't Ryan Day being nice. This was ruthless Ryan going out and trying to increase his team. And he was tampering big time. And that is definitely verboten, and and definitely, I mean, not on the same level of transgression as the Michigan largest cheating scandal in the history of college football, but definitely bad, and definitely something that could have had some serious repercussions coming back on him and on Day and on the school. But that's why he backed off. But I mean, literally, Mac Brown came out with public comments talking about people messing with Drake. He's talking about Ryan Day, and he's talking about Ohio State. But Drake May would have looked awfully good in scarlet and gray last year. Would have been worth it, but not to be.
I totally get it. Again. There's no gentlemen's agreements are all gone. College football is the slimiest profession. I mean, like you could clean septic tanks and be less gross than being a college football coach at this point. So, that's just, it is what it is. And if that's your thing, then that's where you got to go. Kevin Fritz, Fritz or Fritchie, appreciate you, my man. Thanks for the deuce. Who will be the deep threat? JJ Smith. That's what I'm picking. Nevada, your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I was talking about this last night with one of my kids, and I was talking about, JJ Smith presents a different angle for Ohio State right now because he's a legit field stretcher, deep threat alpha. And while we've had guys that have been burners and we've had guys that can take the top off, we've never had anybody like JJ. And this is going to add a completely different dimension to the Ohio State offense when you've got, I mean, because Marvin, as great as Marvin wasn't a blow the top off the defense type of guy. He was a great, receiver. I mean, JJ's he's like a combination of getting, Justin Jefferson and Chase on the same thing, because he's got that wingspan and that catch radius and long and lanky, but he's got the big time speed to blow the lid right off the thing. So the field stretcher on the team, it's going to be JJ, and that's going to. I mean, they're going to have to respect that. They're going to have to double him, and that means single coverage all the way around for Carnell and Emeka and anybody else that's out in the pass patterns, and those guys are going to eat. So everybody's going to eat when you get the big dog. Everybody's going to eat, but he's the field stretcher.
Nevada, are the superlatives to the highest level we've ever seen with JJ Smith as a freshman who's been here for 4 months?
Yeah, no, it is, and it's one of those things where you really because I've always been and anybody's followed me is like, man, I'm always trying to beat down expectations and stuff, because I always believe disappointment is a function of expectation. And I want to keep it real, but I think part of keeping it real is like, hey, let's be realistic about where this guy is coming in as a freshman, or where's this guy coming in, he's untested. um, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody eaten up by the fan base when they're expecting X and he's only delivering Y, and people are upset about it. But with JJ, it's just it's hard to keep it in check, because he does it every practice, he does it every game, he does it against everybody, and short of injury. And I just want to put that out there, because I think if I can speak about it, I can speak it away. Short of injury, he'll smash every receiving record at Ohio State. And I said it yesterday. I truly believe that he will be recognized as the best wide receiver in college football this year, regardless of class. That's how good I think J.J. Smith is, and the fact that we get to enjoy him for 3 years is kind of insane. And I'm going to enjoy every single minute of it.
That's the best he can do. He'll have the best numbers at Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with best receiver in Ohio State history.
So you're not going to go like I did. I said
You
he'll
said
be
you said best receiver in the history of
in the history
receivers.
of in the history. Like he's like, if you mix like Jerry Rice with like Jeff Bezos and like Jesus together, you get JJ Smith. That's what I'm kidding. It's like,
And
but it's like the superlatives
I'm
are
going to
so
throw
hilarious
I'm,
at this point. Who
I'm
else?
going to throw Jessica Alba in
And
there too.
You put Jessica Alba, Jesus, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, George
and
Washington,
Secretariat. Yeah,
Secretariat, LeBron. If you mix all those together, you get JJ Smith. You don't even need
JJ
Jerry.
Smith. Yeah,
You don't even need Jerry Rice anymore. Like that's where it's almost like the part where it's stupid. But Jim
yeah.
Knowles, who I like, he came out and said he might be the best player on the field right now, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my Christ. Look, let's just throw a little bit more on it. But so that's why it's just like we play these superlative games where it's just like, okay, well, all right, let's see how ridiculous we can go with it. Larry Daniels, thank you for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thank you for the 5. Thanks to Kim B, Ohio 7715, and Akeem, aka Treasure the Torah, for wrenching on the trolls. Yeah, they beat the trolls to death with the wrench, which is always enticing and lovely because the trolls are morons. And it's funny because some of them make new screen names. And the thing I've learned about, we live in the internet world. Like that's what, especially Nevada and I, there are really dumb people that are obsessive. They're obsessed with us and they're impossibly stupid. Like I had a guy who hates us and he made multiple screen names. He made a screen name under his wife's credit card because we blocked his credit card. And he's just such a moron. And it was funny, like and then he had his wife write a thing for a refund, and I'm like, we don't do refunds. Like you don't get a refund when you show up, make an account, harass us, and then you leave. But again, the stupidity of the people that don't like us is almost amazing. But that's why they're all at bad websites where they can commiserate together. Nevada, your
Randy.
thoughts? Your thoughts on Kim B, Ohio 7715, and Treasure the Torah wrenching the trolls?
Yeah, it is amazing how we kind of attract. We're like a kind of a light, and all these bugs
Oh
come flying to the light or
God.
something like that, and they just can't stay away, even though they know what's going to happen. They're going to come to the light. They're going to get nuked. They just keep and they come every single night,
Oh, they
and
love
we
it.
just we keep drawing them in and just keep smacking them over the head. So it's a beautiful thing.
Well, like the funny thing is, like we don't ban people. It's like people ban themselves. It's like
Yeah.
they beg for it. In the words of I've been doing this for a long time. There's some people, they're just so obsessed with us that they can't stop watching. They can't stop
Randy
tuning
Saint
in,
Laurent. Randy
and
Saint
that's
Laurent.
great. I know
Yeah, it's great.
they love it. But hey, you know what? God bless them. I'm sure that they wish that the people that they like were more entertaining and better at their jobs, but they're just not. So they could come check us out, which we appreciate it. Thank you for the ad revenue. Chuck Chip Scoochie, thank you for the deuce. Appreciate you, my man. How much say do you think Chip has on the starting QB? I think he's got a good amount of say. I think it's not I don't think, usually when I've never seen a quarterback competition where it was so divided. I mean, I lived through one, which was one guy was way better, but they started the other guy. But I think that Chip and Ryan will be in lockstep, and I think it's going to be Will Howard. I think that when they start running the quarterback and playing real football, I think it's going to be much different than the spring trash that we have to deal with. And I think that they'll both agree on likely Will Howard, in my opinion. And there's a good shot that Julian Sainz is going to be the backup again. I thought the most telling thing that was said all week was Ryan Day talking about how Julian Sainz has to be ready to play against Oregon and Michigan and Penn State. And I mean, if I'm Lincoln Keenholz and Devin Brown and those guys, I'm like, whoa, like the freshman that just got here has to be ready to play versus the best teams on our schedule. Like, it's really like that. But hey, we just read the tea leaves and report it. And again, if I was a player and if I was a third year guy or a fourth year guy and Jim Trutzel came and said, well, this freshman tackle better be ready to play right tackle versus Penn State and Michigan, I'd be like, hold on now. What are we talking about here? So that's my opinion. Nevada, how much say do you believe Chip Kelly has with the starting quarterback?
A lot. I mean, Chip Kelly's running the offense, and I'm not saying that he would have a vote over Ryan, but I can't imagine the conversation where if they were like kind of split 50-50 and Ryan Day's going to go, I'm going to give you a quarterback that you don't really believe in or that you're not completely sold on, and now here go run the offense with him. I think Day would actually defer to Chip on something like this, but I agree with you. I think they'll be in lockstep with whomever they pick. And like you said, we have no dog in them. I couldn't care less. I just want to win. I want to beat Michigan so bad this year that I can taste it. I can't wait for this expanded playoff. I think this is a national championship team with a defense that's not going to give up more than 21 points in any game this year, and just going to just throttle people. So I just want us to win. So if that's Lincoln, if that's Air, if they give Burt Carton the dreaded 7th year of eligibility, and you come out there and play quarterback, dude, I'm down for that. I don't care who it is. I just want to win.
I was the same way. When I played, just give me a guy that can win. Give me a guy that can move the ball. Give me a guy that's tough. And I played with the toughest quarterback in school history in Troy Smith. So Troy's a killer. Donald Karen Rossback, thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for the 5. My Barton jersey came today. Kirk, I'll be sending it your way on Monday. It is massively cool, Nevada OH. I believe we have a member on Saturday wearing a Burke Carton jersey as well. So that'll be fire. Appreciate you, David, my boy, who got a Burke Carton jersey. Thanks for that nickname. But Donald and Karen, you guys got my email. Hit me up, and I'll give you my address, and I send it along. Tony Turley, my man, I hope your son is doing okay. Tony is a Scoop Hall of Famer, a guy that had to bow out of the event on Saturday. We're gonna miss you, my man. I was looking forward to seeing you. I know Tony had to bow out. He's got some stuff with his son, so I appreciate you, Tony. You're the best. They've been ultra everything for the 20. Kirk, you mentioned dong. Did you know that Vietnamese currency is called dong? Sometimes I will just ask merchants if they take dong. Just saying, Nevada OH. Tony, I did not know that, and I don't know if I will never probably get to Vietnam, at least not willingly. So I appreciate the education. That is absolutely hilarious that you ask that. It's a family show, but hey, you're talking about a currency, so it's a little tongue in cheeky, but I think it's pretty funny. So I appreciate you, brother, for educating me on Asian currency. I think the closest I'll get to Vietnam is when I play Civilization 6 and I take over Asia with the Mongolians. So, but I appreciate you, brother. Jeremy McStevens, thank you for the 5. Question for you in Nevada. Any updates on the hammer dropping on Michigan? I've not seen anything lately. Nevada, do you have any updates?
The latest that I've gotten from my contact at the NCAA is that things have kind of gone silent inside the NCAA, which generally is a precursor to the letter of allegations being dropped and being published. So that's what I got. I always say timing these things is always dicey. the one thing I can guarantee, I can say with 100% certainty, I can say two things with 100% certainty. OJ was guilty, and he killed Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson. And two, the NCAA is going to hammer Michigan, and it's just a matter of when. But I don't. The when part is always so hard because of the expanded investigation, the assignment of new investigators. But the latest that I got is that they feel like it's in the now we're going to publish the letter of allegation stage. We will see if that's true. But as I get more, I'll definitely update the board, and then I will update this podcast.
Yep, totally agree. Andre Duke. Kirk, who was the best player you played with in the NFL? Well, that one's easy. It's not even close. Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, to me, is the best wide receiver who's ever lived. God bless Jerry Rice, but Jerry Rice had Joe Montana, Steve Young. Obviously, towards the end of his career, he had Rich Gannon. But Calvin had like Joey Harrington, John Kitna. I mean, he had like Turd Ferguson up until Matt Stafford showed up. But Calvin's the best player I've ever seen. I mean, he was great player, great person, monster on the field, monster practice guy. 6'6", 230, ran a 4.3, jumped 44 inches. I mean, he was the bat. I mean, if you're saying, Kirk, who's the first receiver you're taking on your all-time team, I'm taking Calvin. Because I played with that dude, and I was like, there ain't nobody like Calvin Johnson. So that's a really easy one.
JJ Smith.
He's not as big as Calvin. Calvin's bigger than he is, though. Calvin's 6'6". I mean, Calvin's a monster. So JJ could be like Calvin. If Calvin and
what is that? You called JJ the greatest wide receiver in the history of wide receivers today, and now you're putting Calvin
because I was being stupid because the hyperbole is so dumb with JJ at this point. Where it's like, oh, JJ is the best player in the country. Oh, he's the best receiver. JJ is the best player on the team. Oh, he's the best player in the country. Oh, he's the best player in the universe. Oh, he's the greatest player who's ever lived. He rested on the seventh day. He created the entire world.
You mean he's not as good as if Jeff Bezos and Jessica Alba and LeBron and the secretary had a love child.
Michael Jordan, Moses from the Ten Commandments, freeing the Hebrews.
Anytime I can bring a Jessica Alba reference, though, I'm bringing it, man. I'm definitely bringing it.
Yeah, Nevada. Who's the best NFL player you played with? Jessica Alba. There you go. Easy.
Jessica Alba, easy.
Not only is she like stunningly attractive, she's a billionaire now. So she's like, I don't know. Just. Honest genius.
Don't get me started.
Jerry McStevens, thank you for the deuce. Who's you in Nevada's semifinal predictions? Nevada, I'll let you go first.
My semifinals predictions?
Yeah, your final four, basically, for college football.
Wow. I mean, Ohio State's an easy one.
Yeah, we'll have the same three easily because we're gonna have Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, and then Oregon probably is my fourth.
Yeah, I mean, that is my four right now. But, I mean, I could come up with somebody else. I guarantee you who's not going to be there. It's like Michigan. Michigan ain't going to be there. But, yeah, I think those four are pretty chalky right there. Those four teams I think are definitely – and, again, if you can get a futures line on Michigan-Texas game, and Texas is only a 2.5-point favorite, I am telling you, bet the ranch on that. Texas is going to be really freaking good this year, guys. Really freaking good. And if you get them at less than a field goal against Michigan, who is not going to be very good, bet the ranch.
Who actually stinks.
Yeah, bet the ranch, dude.
Yeah, I mean, because Texas could go shopping in this next portal too. They already went shopping and got a bunch of good receivers. They got Bond from Bama. I mean, they're all in this year now with Q.
The portal. What people don't realize is like this is the first portal session that's open now that the NCAA has kind of dropped all limitations on the collectives. So that's why everybody is so unsure. Because I had people ask me, well, why Nevada? What's so significant about this new portal thing? Well, it's the first time that there's no rules. It's absolutely unfettered attack coming into this portal season. So people aren't sure what's going to happen, but Texas is a buyer. I can tell you that. And Texas is already really good, and they're only going to get better in this portal. I'm telling you that. So Texas, -2.5 against Michigan. Week 2, get rich, kids. That's an easy one.
Get rich, kids. Ryan Coolidge, thank you for the 10. Thankfully, we have Kim and Devin holding it down as the wrench squad. Ryan, your super chat question was the over-under Nevada on how many Michigan players leave when the portal opens. What would you set? Let's set the number at 5. Do you go over or under?
Oh, it's going to be easily be over. I mean, well, they've already, like I said, they've already lost a couple, and then they lost. I know they lost like a quarterback, and they lost a running back. I mean, it's a question of really of consequence. How many people of consequence are they going to lose? Well, the biggest one was Rod Moore, because when they lost him to the knee injury, and then they lost the other kid, the other safety to Keon Sabb. They lost him in Alabama. That was big. You're talking about a team that's already lost 45 fifth and sixth year guys, and now you lose that on top of that. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt because they've got some big holes, and more than that, I think that's anybody's guess. But I'd say total of it was over under 5. I'd go over.
I like that. I think that's easy. I think you could, if you do 5 for any school, they're going to lose 5 guys.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State will lose 5 guys. Which again, are they going to be 5 guys we care about? Probably not. So, I think that's just the new wave of college football. Then there's always going to be transition in rosters, and it's all good. Chuck Chip Scoochie, appreciate you, man. Thank you for the deuce. Is JJ the best wide receiver since Randy Moss? I think so. Well, I think Calvin was better than Randy, in my opinion. But Randy was amazing. Obviously, Randy was, I know he had drug problems and arrests and went from Notre Dame to Florida State to Marshall. So he bounced around, and he wasn't a slam dunk. I mean, the Bengals passed on him twice. I mean, the Cowboys passed on him twice. I mean, it's I don't know. Calvin went 2 overall in the draft. I think Calvin's a better prospect than Randy was, just because of the off the field and the whole thing. But JJ's a lot like Calvin, clean off the field, easy money, monster worker. Nevada, is JJ the best wide receiver since Randy Moss?
I think it'll be the most hyped. I think the hype is going to be out of control, considering that Fox is broadcasting the spring game nationally on the big daddy Fox. I don't think people are going to be able to stop talking about JJ Smith after the spring game, and so I'll say the most hyped wide receiver since Randy Moss for sure.
I like that. Larry Daniels, again, thank you for the 5. Just curious, what brand of earbuds do you prefer? I'm in the market for a new pair. Well, there's only one earbud that I recognize around here. That's the real earbud. So, I'm just teasing you. But I like these Bose Ultras. Bose Ultras are about.
Now, what did you think about the earbud?
The knockoffs. Nevada.
You didn't like the knockoff earbuds, like the earbud golden retriever.
They're probably trash. They're probably trying
my kids loved all the ones, because it was like with basketball, and then he did like a football one, and he did a hockey one. Yeah, Airbud was like he was pretty versatile.
He should do an Ohio State football podcasting one. That would be amazing. I'd watch that one. If he had to like throw his earbuds, if Airbud had to throw in his earbuds and wear his little scoop hat and his little scoop hoodie, that would be fire. But until he gets to that level, cool. I'm not watching it. I've got the Bose Ultras.
You could interview Airbud.
I know. I know. I mean, he'd be my new host. It'd be amazing. The new Airbud. I got these Bose Ultras. I love these. I use these every night. They're great. I've got 2 pairs of them. I got a pair that I work out with. I got a pair that I podcast with. But Bose Ultras, Bose never fails. I love their products. I think they do a great job. I've got Apple AirPods too, but I think the Bose ones are much better for podcasting and noise cancellation. Andre Duke. I can take off Airbud now. Who's the best defensive player I played with in the NFL? Ooh. I played with Jerry Porter, not a Hall of Famer. Patrick Willis is probably the guy. He's the guy that if he would have played longer, he would have been first ballot Hall of Famer. He's probably still going to be a Hall of Famer, but did he get? I think he might have gotten the Hall of Fame this year, actually. But P. Willie was that cat was a absolute. He was a unit, man. Patrick Willis was. He was, he ran like a 4.35. So he was the fastest linebacker I've ever seen. Great person. Yeah, he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So he's going in this year. He was, 7-time Pro Bowler. He was a unit. He was like Ray Lewis without all of the BS, without all the dancing. But the combine he ran, I think a 4.38 or something crazy, and just freaky fast, really great player. Justin Smith was the guy that the Bengals drafted, who I played against, and that's the strongest player I ever played against on the field. He was absolutely insane. Great dude, total hillbilly. Played at Missouri. Was much better with the 49ers than he was with the Bengals, but that dude was a unit. Jeremy Moreland, thank you for being a Scoop Watch. Remember, thank you for the 10 predictions on both Miami and Florida State this year. Ooh. Well, I think Florida State will be all right. I think Miami's going to suck like they have the last few years. Miami's just a weird program. I don't think they're ever going to get back to where they used to be just because of the amount of transition, the amount of uncles that are down in Miami driving these kids away from the program. These kids chase fast money. They get fast money, and then when they don't play, they want to go get fast money somewhere else. So I think they'll be all right. Florida State will be interesting. We'll see how they do. Probably a playoff team, probably 12 team playoff. I can see Florida State make it. The ACC is not strong this year. Nevada, your thoughts, your predictions on both Miami and Florida State this year?
I think Miami's going to be better, but I think Florida State's going to take a step back. But betting on Miami to get better is always kind of a fool's errand because every year they look better on paper. Every year they kind of lure you into thinking, maybe this is the year they put it all together, and they always just seem to kind of muck it up and kind of slide back. So, but I think Florida State definitely takes a step back this year. I think there's going to be just kind of a general kind of regression to the mean there because I'm just not seeing it at the necessary positions. You're not seeing that experience that you want at the key spots, and I think their health's in question too. So, I'm saying Miami slightly up, Florida State slightly down.
I think that's very fair. Jerry McStevens, does Sean Moore have a Vage? I don't think so. He maybe, but probably not. I don't know. Chocolate Chip Scoochie, thanks for the deuce. No, out of high school. Oh, the best receiver out of high school. That is an interesting question. Ooh. God,
I'm going to tell you the best
as a true freshman though.
I'm going to tell you the best high school. I'm going to tell you the best high school wide receiver that I've ever seen was Kenyon Rambo. Kenyon Rambo at Long Beach Poly was unbelievable. He didn't do it here at Ohio State. That might have been one of my biggest surprises ever at Ohio State was the fact that Kenyon Rambo didn't turn out to be like a superstar because I think he caught like 26 touchdown passes his senior year at Long Beach Poly. At Long Beach Poly, the Jackrabbits, they play like the toughest schedule, and they're just they put out so many guys. And when you talk to the people at Poly, he was the best wide receiver to ever play there. And they've had some really good ones come through there. But Kenyon Rambo is the best high school wide receiver I ever saw.
Yeah, Teddy came on in 04 later in the year, but I'm thinking true freshman. Like, who's the guy that, Garrett was pretty good as a true freshman. I don't know. Calvin as a true freshman was actually really good. He's played for Georgia Tech. He didn't play for Bama or Florida State. A guy that was awesome his freshman year was Amari Cooper at Bama. You're probably right. It probably was Boss. So I'll give you that one. Chalk Chip Scoochie. Appreciate you, my man. I don't know. Let's say Amari Cooper. They won the national championship against Notre Dame. He shredded those guys. That would be a good bet for me. Maybe Jerry Jeudy. I think it was probably Amari Cooper. Mike Williams was ridiculous his freshman year too from SC before he tried to opt into the draft like Maurice did. Ian Bates for the 10. If J.J. Smith played for an SEC school and had these stories coming out of camp, it would be on every network and Twitter feed. The OSU hates that's clear as day by every network and site. Won't let it happen. Well, I think we do a very poor job of promoting our guys. I've gone into depth about that, but again, you can say, Kirk, you're a hater, you know what you're talking about, but look at the guys we've put in the league over the last 6 years and look at the major awards they won in college. The guys like CJ Stroud, never an All-American, didn't win any major awards. He's going to be the highest paid player in NFL history when his contract comes up. Marvin Harrison lost to Biletnikoff last year, almost lost it this year, which would have been the greatest thing ever. I mean, he won by 1 vote over the kid from LSU, Neighbors. Paris Johnson never won anything significance outside of being a first-team All-American. He should have been. I mean, Paris Johnson didn't even win Big Ten Lineman of the Year, and he went 6th overall in the draft because we're terrible at promoting our players. I mean, we're probably the worst school in the country for the amount of talent we have and how good our players are. We're terrible about it, and it's embarrassing. But you could be so much better. And again, with the budget that we have for marketing and for video and all this other stuff, all these highlight reels that we make, like you'd think it would be like a layup, but we're just not very good. Like our Heisman campaigns suck. Nobody like Marvin Harrison having "Here Comes the Sun." JJ Smith. If you say, "Hey JJ Smith, what does 'Here Comes the Sun' mean?" He'd be like, "I have no idea." Oh, it's a Beatles song. JJ Smith would be like, "What are the Beatles? Who are the Beatles?" He's an 18-year-old kid from South Florida. But that was our Heisman campaign for Marvin Harrison because, again, we're out of touch and our marketing department sucks at Ohio State football. And I mean, it's as bad as I've ever seen. Nevada, your thoughts. If J.J. Smith played for an SEC school, it had these stories coming out of camp, it'd be on every network and Twitter feed. The OSU hate is clear. And again, you have to understand, like ESPN is in bed with the SEC. They are in bed. They are the prostitute of the SEC. So they're never going to love us. So the fact that we give ESPN like as much access as we do, again, is just incredible stupidity on the part of Ohio State because those guys are never going to be pro Ohio State. They're never going to promote Ohio State. They're always going to actively root against Ohio State because they want all SEC all the time. Now if Fox wants to come in, absolutely, come on in, Fox. Big Ten Network, come on in. But the SEC, the ESPN does no favors for Ohio State, and they haven't for years. Ever since they created the SEC network and they've got the SEC contract, like it just everything changed. Now it's CBS, Fox. Come on in the front door. Anytime you guys want to come in, come in. ESPN, I'd be like, well, I mean, but again, we let Taylor Lewan, who's a rapist, come into our building. So tells me all I need to know. Nevada, again, do you love the OSU hate is clear as day, and that if JJ Smith played for an SC school, you'd see a lot more stories about him on ESPN and on some of the bigger media outlets?
No, it is. While the hate is real, and we have the worst sports information director in the history of Ohio State, and Jerry Emick is a moron, and this guy is so bad. When he finally gets fired, it's going to be a great day. I grew up in the era when C-Snap was there, and rest in peace. Just a legendary SID, the legendary campaigns, legendary promotion of the players. And you're right, last year was the first time that Marvin barely eked out a victory for the Biletnikoff. First time we'd ever had anything in a long time. It's abysmal, the job, but that's what it is. And I love everything about Ohio State, and when it's good, I'll tell you, and when it's bad, I'll tell you that as well. Our SID sucks. He's just bad, and he's a bad guy, and he's bad at his job, and the result is bad work. And you can just judge it, like you said, by the results. How many of our guys have won postseason awards? Last year was the first time in 6 or 7 years that we got into anything. And like you said, it was I think he won it by 1 vote or 2. I mean, it was razor close that Marvin Harrison won that. Like I said, I don't want to rant anymore on that, but we're really bad that area.
Go look at like what Joey Bosa won. Like Scooby Wright cleaned Joey Bosa's clock in the award circuit. And I'm like, Joey Bosa has more talent in his little toenail than Scooby has his entire body. And Scooby won every
Scooby.
award. Yeah, because they
Scooby.
promoted him. Scooby went 7th round. He was in the NFL for about 8 seconds. Joey, of course, goes 3rd overall in the draft. Monster first year, monster second contract. Like one of the best players in the entire league. And he didn't win anything. You know, again, it's so bad that it's this, Jeff Okuda, like all these guys like that, they go top 5 in the draft, and Ezekiel Elliott. Again, just go look at the guys that have gotten drafted the last 10 years, and look at how high they go, and look at how many major awards they bring home, because it's none. Like Peter Sikorsky from Northwestern, who got drafted in the first round, mid round, to go to the Titans, and they moved him to guard, not tackle, not the premier position. They moved him into guard. He won Offensive Lineman of the Year over Paris Johnson, and to a lesser extent, DeJuan Jones. Those guys were unbelievable as rookies in the NFL. Peterson, of course, he sucked. It's trash. But again, he won O-Lineman of the Year, and he was on a 1-11 Northwestern team. 1-11. Beat out Paris Johnson, who played left tackle for the number 1 offense in the country. So, again, I don't really care because it doesn't affect me, but it's just like, at some point, like, we have to get serious about these guys. Pooh Beer 12, thanks for being an ultra member. Thanks for the deuce. You bought 2 massive shirts, my wife. Yeah, of course you did, dude. You got to have one for, you got to alternate them. You wash one day, wear one. You get a nice little cycle one. Pooh Beer, I appreciate you, my man. I hope you're coming up on Saturday. I'd love to meet you in person. And she can wear one as a nightgown as well, so I'm sure that it's probably a little bit bigger than what she wears. So, hey, it's all good, my man. Well, Nevada. We can wrap this shindig up. Any final thoughts?
Well, I can't wrap it up without asking a question. Uncle Buck asked me the question about knuckles up blocking technique, good or bad. And so I wanted to throw that out there at the old All-American lineman. Knuckles up technique is good or bad? Or do you even know what the knuckles up technique is?
I have no idea what that means. No. I have no idea. I mean, that's like saying, is the rotisserie chicken technique better than the hot dog water technique? And again, I'm not trying to be smart. I've never heard of that. The knuckles up is like this, like you block like this, like is this knuckles up? Like this is your knuckles, right? So, like that. I've never heard of that. And again, and maybe I'm just prehistoric and I don't know O-line play, and maybe I just play an O-line guy on TV or something. But like,
so you've never heard that? I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of that. Never heard. I'm
not the All-American Tree in the Grove former offensive line
I've
coach.
never heard of that.
We get the best questions. Those are great.
I never heard of that.
Okay, so I'm going to put you down for we're not sure. Maybe not.
Knuckles. Knuckles off. Knuckle dragging like you're like an orangutan or something like.
Knuckle up. That's what they say on the bare knuckle fighting champ. Whenever they go, knuckle up, and they go in there and they fight.
Uncle Buck, I love you, my man. You're my boy. All right. Final thoughts, Nevada. Nevada, Knucklebuck.
Knucklebuck here. Come to the party on Saturday. It's gonna be unbelievable. I think now just the programming. Aren't we going a little early? Are we going early tomorrow, Burke? Or are we? Is there going to be a programming change?
Yeah. So okay, here's the deal. So I am out of commission tomorrow night. I've got some engagements, so we're gonna go at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So I'll put that up. I will tweet it. 10 a.m., which is 7 a.m. Nevada. So Nevada's gonna roll out of bed, put on his dungaroos, eat some Quaker Oats, and go walk down the streets his coffee bean and get his like large vanilla milkshake that he calls coffee.
No. So it's the dark chocolate ice blended cheese jalapeno bagel, extra toasty cream cheese place.
Dark chocolate cream cheese jalapeno.
No, dark chocolate ice blended. You get the dark chocolate drink, and then
Oh, I got you.
so you get the sweet, salty thing kind of going on right there. And also, I'm gonna investigate knuckles up blocking, so we can have just full discussion
Oh
about
my
knuckles
God.
up blocking tomorrow morning too. I'm gonna educate the All American. We're gonna have a segment on educating Bert Carton on knuckles up blocking.
See, ZZM said it right. He said Nevada Funky Knucklebuck. See, that's what we were calling it. I was calling you Nevada. It's called Funky Nevada Buck, Funky Buck.
Knuckle knuckle
What
buck.
I'm gonna go do, I'm gonna wrap this show up. I'm gonna go watch Fallout because Fallout is my favorite video game of all time. If you guys have Amazon Prime, I watched the first 3 episodes. It is incredible. It is so good.
What's it about?
It's about like the nuclear
Oh,
holocaust, and then they come out of this vault. But if you play the video game, it's the greatest thing ever. But it's like a
is it
really
zombies and stuff? Is it like zombies and stuff like that?
there's I mean, there's mutants, zombies, ghouls, but it's awesome. Like again, if you played the video game, like I probably spent a month of my life playing Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, probably 2 months of my life. Like I mean, it's ridiculous how much time I spent playing that game. But the show, even if you haven't played the game, I think it still would be really good. It's really, really, really well done. Really good production quality. Like again, I'd fire up the first couple episodes, and even if you've never played the video game before, I think it's a really good show. So, and again, it got ridiculously high reviews from critics. So, again, I could be dead wrong, but I love it, and I can't wait to go watch. Like, it's like all 8 episodes are up right now. I'm gonna watch probably the rest of them tonight. I'll probably be up till 4 a.m. So, I'll go straight from Fallout right into the podcast. So, well, final thoughts, Nevada. We can wrap this thing up.
Yeah, well, you see that little hand with the knuckles and the thumbs sticking up, the
Oh my
knuckle.
god.
Give us a thumbs knuckle up. You can help other people find this podcast, and we appreciate it very much. And come to the party on Saturday. Get there early. I'm just telling you, I'm admonishing you right now. Get there early. I know it opens at 9, but I would get there a little bit before 9, so you can kind of jam on in there. Get your location, get it set up. You'll be happy that you did because it's going to be a madhouse.
Yeah, I'll totally agree. And again, Fallout on IGN got a 9 out of 10, which is a pretty high rating for a series. But it's
Knuckle up.
and you can knuckle up. Yeah, Fallout season
Knuckle.
1 is out, and it is a great show. So I can't wait to watch some more of it. But and it's TVMA, just like us, very graphic. So well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for kicking it with us. Can't wait to see you guys on Saturday. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also, click that little alert bell. You can alert every time we go. Shout out to all you guys that bought Scoop gear. It's all arriving. Good looking stuff. Really excited, really proud of it. Looking forward to see you guys. If you wear your gear and get a free beer, it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see you guys on Saturday. It'll be a blast. Me and Kim will be there. Got a big crew of people coming, some special guests coming, some surprise guests. You guys are going to have a great time. So, as always, shout out where you're watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Let me know in the comments. Are you coming? RSVP in the comments tonight. With that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. Talk to you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Early bells. And I'll see you guys then. Go Bucks.